What's up, my busy bees? Welcome back to the channel. Today we are going to be discussing our first non-insect pollinator, which we call NIPS on this channel. In case you missed it, NIPS just stands for non-insect pollinators. Today's NIP is bats, which do not get anywhere near the amount of respect they are due. So let's get to it, shall we? In the United States, there are two recognized species of pollinating bats, the lesser long-nosed bat and the Mexican long-tongued bat. Both are located in the southwest portions of the United States and down into Central America because they are used to dry, arid ecosystems. In some instances, they can be found as far west as Southern California. Not very often, though. Typically, Arizona is how far they go. They feed primarily on pollen and nectar from cactus plants. Long-tongued bats are known to gather nectar from bird feeders as well. Bats are of the order Chiroptera, and there are some 1,400 species worldwide, 47 in the United States, of which 2 feed on pollen and nectar. The majority of bats in the United States are insectivores, which are also very important to the ecology. There are a lot of misconceptions about bats. So we're going to do a few little fact checks to set things straight about them. Probably the largest misconception people have is that bats are rats with wings. Okay, bats are not rats with wings. They aren't even rodents at all. Remember, I said they are in the order Chiroptera. Rats and other rodents are in the order Rodentia. So they are not the same thing. Fun fact, bats are more closely related to humans, about 96% genetically similar, versus rats that are only about 90% related to humans. To put that in perspective, bats are almost as related to us as orangutans, which are 97% related to humans. Another misconception is that bats are blind. Bats are not blind, but by our standards, I can see why that is believed. We rely heavily on sight to function as humans. Bats, well, they don't. The majority of bats depend on echolocation and acoustics to find their food and water and navigate their environments. Interestingly, bats use acoustic signatures to identify familiar bats from bats they do not know. While bats do nest in colonies, they roost in different clusters, similar to how humans live in a neighborhood but stay with their families in their own homes. Another misconception is that all bats carry rabies. Like any animal known to possibly have rabies, they most likely weren't born with it and can live their lives without ever contracting rabies. Typically, they have to come into contact with something that has rabies in order to get them. I do not endorse ever touching or handling bats of any kind just to be safe and frankly for other bats' safety. White nose syndrome is one of many highly contagious diseases to bats, which is contact-specific. Some parks you visit may require people to clean their shoes before and after entering to help prevent the spread of the disease. Another misconception that people have is that bats are vicious and attack. This is not at all true. While bats will shriek at potential invaders or bite them if handled, bats are not animals that attack other animals, except bats that feed on the blood of other animals. Bats would rather get away from other animals, which is why they nest in hidden places they aren't likely to be found to begin with. Should they be discovered, they will disperse, which can leave the discoverer engulfed in dozens or hundreds of frightened bats, which is probably why many believe they attack people. The conservation of bats is really important because, as I've stated, they both pollinate plants and they manage insect populations. In the United States, bats are federally and stately protected species, which is a great thing because a lot of people associate bats as pests and disease spreaders, which just isn't true. How can you help? Not using agrochemicals, which poisons their food, which then poisons them. You can put out houses for them to roost inside of. You can place these on trees, fences, or if you're willing, you can even place them on a side of your house you don't use very often as not to disturb the bats. Thank you all for tuning in on our first NIP video. Next time we will be going over part 2. As always, don't forget to like, subscribe, turn on your notifications, leave a question for the Q&A video coming up, and tell your friends and family about us. Now, buzz off!